Now, as a real estate agent in Clark County, Washington, one of the most common questions I get, especially from folks looking to relocate here, is why should I live in the Vancouver area rather than the Portland area? Now, there's a million reasons I could give you as to why the Vancouver, Washington area is so superior to Portland, but for the sake of brevity, in this video, I'm going to offer you 7. Hey, my name is Nick Aufenkamp, and if you've been around the channel a while, you know that I am leading the Tartan team. We are a group of elite real estate professionals, but without the egos that are so often typical of top-performing real estate teams. We are here to serve you, and this video is one of the ways in which we hope to do so by offering you 7 reasons why you would want to live in Vancouver rather than in Portland. And reason number 1 is purely financial. Now, Washington State is one of the few states in America that has no income tax. That is a huge benefit, especially if you're coming from Oregon, where the income tax is close to 10%. I've talked to so many clients who have decided to move to the north side of the Columbia River, join me in the Vancouver area because they're able to give themselves a 10, almost 11% raise in some instances. That's the beauty of so much of the workforce moving to remote work over the last 5 years. Now, if you can work from anywhere, you might as well work in a state, in a place where you're going to earn the most. And not having to pay state income tax is a huge way of boosting your overall income. It's number 1 reason why so many people are looking at Washington State on the whole, and it's one of the most attractive features about living in Vancouver, Washington. Reason number 2 is closely related. Now, the cost of living in Vancouver is still much more affordable than the cost of living in most major cities. That's certainly true of the cost of living in Vancouver compared to Portland. On the whole, real estate prices in Vancouver are still more affordable than real estate in comparable neighborhoods in Portland. And also, you're going to find that there are things like groceries, gas, that are also just a little bit less expensive. But having everything a little bit less expensive certainly adds up over the course of the year. So it's another reason why people prefer living in Vancouver to Portland, is because the cost of living in the Vancouver area is, on the whole, dollar to dollar less expensive than it is in Portland. Reason number 3 is that the Vancouver area gives you a small town feel, but you still have access to all of the best of living in a developed urban city. Now, Vancouver, Washington has grown a ton over the last 20 years. There's been a big push for local businesses. And so we are starting to see some of the finest restaurants and cafes and local shops that are filling up downtown Vancouver, downtown Camas, downtown Ridgefield, downtown Battleground. There are a lot of these really cool pockets of local communities where you're going to find kind of the things that are the heart of a larger city. But you still have a lot of that small town community, kind of suburban feel in the Vancouver area as well. It's a really wonderful mix of that small town community vibe while still having a lot of amenities that you would expect in a more developed city. And then, of course, depending on where you're at in Vancouver, you're really only 15, 20, maybe at most 30 minutes away from everything that Portland offers. So it's not like you're all that far. The Portland International Airport is just right across the I-205 river, so most spots in the Vancouver area, you're only 20 minutes away from huge international airport. And then you've also got all of the sports teams and big concerts and really established, renowned James Beard winning restaurants, all the activities and nightlife that are afforded by living near a big kind of global city, with Portland just being on the other side of the river. So by living in Vancouver, you get the best of all worlds, where you still get that kind of small town community vibe, but you're within 15, 20-minute drive of being able to experience, world-class entertainment in a city like Portland, Oregon. Reason number 4 is somewhat related. While Vancouver has that small town feel, there's also a whole lot less traffic than there is in the Portland metro. Gosh, the other day I was driving back from Tigard, Oregon, and had to come through Portland and got stuck in an hour and a half of traffic for what should have been just a 30-40 minute drive. It was painful. That's because of the population growth that Portland has seen over the past 20 years. They grew way too fast, and infrastructure-wise, they weren't able to keep up with it. The highways, freeways aren't big enough, and so Portland is just kind of one giant speed bump is how it feels to me. Vancouver, not so much that way. As the city has grown, the city has done an amazing job of also expanding infrastructure. Yeah, sure, you'll get little backups here and there, but on the whole, you're not going to have nearly as much traffic or issues of just being stuck in rush hour on the Vancouver side of the river as you would by living in Portland. And because I value my time so much, because I want to be with my family and not stuck in a car, that to me is a huge benefit to know that I'm not going to be wasting hours upon hours every day just sitting in my vehicle. Reason number 5 you want to live in Vancouver rather than Portland is because Vancouver and the surrounding Clark County has an incredibly fast-growing real estate market. There is so much development happening here. And that speaks to what a wonderful place the Vancouver area is to live. People are catching on, and with that, they are coming here, and developers are trying to keep up, which also means that when you buy a home here, you can expect quicker appreciation in the value of your home than you would in most other parts of Washington state, and certainly faster than you would see in Portland. Portland is a bit of a city that's on the decline. There's a whole host of reasons for that, but they're seeing more people move out of the city than move into it. And that messes with the supply and demand dynamics. That creates more supply of available homes than there is demand for them, which generally leads to house prices reducing. Well, we have the opposite problem on the Vancouver side of the Columbia River. Here, there is more demand for housing than there is sufficient supply to meet that demand, which is causing property values to go up. And so when you buy a home in the Vancouver area, you have a much greater likelihood of seeing rapid appreciation in your home value than you would in the Portland area. Reason number 6 is all of the outdoor recreation that is available to you in Vancouver. If you are a nature lover, the Vancouver area is the spot to be. There are so many wonderful parks and trails and places to go hiking, and it's the gateway to some of the most beautiful and scenic places in all of the Pacific Northwest. From almost anywhere in the city, you have views of Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams. It's just an awesome place if you love seeing all of the hills and elevation. We've got parks like around Vancouver Lake and Frenchman's Bar. There's some nice sandy beaches where you can go and lounge in the sun or have a little swim in the river or in the lake. There's great spots for mountain biking or just cycling in general. I was doing Ironman training, and as I would get into more of North Clark County, I could go 10, 20 miles at a time without having to worry about a single stop sign or competing with heavy traffic. And then on the Battleground side, we've got Battleground, Lake Park, Lucia Falls, Molten Falls, all of the hikes that are there around Lewis River. I mean, if you like to explore and get outdoors, well, Vancouver has no shortage of wonderful places for you to go and to enjoy. Portland often gets all of the reputation for having the hikes and the waterfalls, but don't sleep on Vancouver. We have just as much, and in general, they're a whole lot less crowded, less overpopulated. And reason number 7 is just the overall community vibe. Now, of course, I've got some biases. I live in Vancouver, Washington, and I love it. But part of why I love it is because there's just so much unique culture here. There's wonderful farmers markets all over the area, but especially down in downtown Vancouver. The farmers market that they have every weekend down there just continues to grow. It's so great to see local farmers bringing their produce, flowers, artisans with all of the crafts that they have made, local bakeries, and there's so much good stuff, and it's a really cool way to engage with the other residents of Vancouver. There's also just a lot of focus on community building. The city council is very accessible, very responsive. Anytime that I've had questions, I've been able to get a hold of people. They've all been very friendly and helpful. There's a lot of different neighborhoods around the Vancouver area that take great pride in those neighborhoods, doing big block parties. There's also some great museums like the Pearson Air Museum or the Fort Vancouver. And speaking of Fort Vancouver, there's also a fantastic, I think it's still the largest fireworks show on the west side of the Mississippi every 4th of July. There's a lot of things that the community rallies around in the Vancouver area, and I absolutely love it. So these are my 7 top reasons why Vancouver is superior to Portland, Oregon. But I'd love to know your thoughts. What do you think? What did I miss that makes Vancouver so great? Or what am I selling short in Portland that really makes that the spot to be? Love to hear your thoughts. And then, of course, if you're thinking about a move to the Vancouver, Washington area, well, there is so much more to say. Like I said, I got a million reasons why Vancouver is the place to be. And so if you want me to unpack more of those, well, use the links in the description below to get in touch with me. I'd love to find the perfect spot for you in Clark County, Washington. I know it's out there, so all we got to do is get the conversation started. But as always, thanks for engaging with the video here. Please do, before you go, be sure to like, subscribe, and then check out some of the other videos on the channel. Would love for you to engage, would love to get to know you better. Thanks, y'all.